Hola, mis amigos. It's Sebastien, back again. Gonna do a quick little video here on some recent book finds, thrifted book finds, mostly Goodwill, and but most importantly, before I even get going, I have to introduce one of my great new special friends that's joining, Donald Ducky. And I hope you will honor him, say nice things about Donald Duck. He is one of the greatest ducks of all time. Come on, don't be a bad person and say somebody else. But yeah, so and there's a couple of things I'm going to show that he's going to be particularly amazed and happy about, probably. Or is he always angry? I can never remember. So, but first off, here's a couple books I actually ordered for myself. These are off of eBay. This first one's called Take Ivy, and this was originally published in the 60s. And it was a Japanese photographer that was taken along by a Japanese clothing company that was trying to introduce prep wear into Japan and Japanese consumerism and culture. But what this is really cool because it really documents in interesting ways the way people were dressing prep wear in the U.S. at some of the campuses. I think it's mostly East Coast. But what's cool is that it really captures the essence of the style in this period, and how the style did have a lot of nuances and kind of evolutions. I was actually I found out about this book from a podcast called Articles of Interest. And they have a season, I think it's season 4, that's all about prep wear. And they talk a lot about this book and the company that was behind, the Japanese company that was behind prep wear in Japan. So it's really cool. It gave me kind of a new appreciation on the history and culture of prep wear in the U.S., especially post-World War II. So I don't know, it's a cool resource, in my opinion. This other one, now this is another subject I really want to learn about. It's the Book of Tiki. This is Taschen. It was published 2001. And the cool thing with Tiki is, something that I only know about vaguely from sometimes seeing old-timey movies and cartoons where there would be Tiki elements, kind of Pacific culture, but in a kitsch way. But this is a really cool resource book, and it would be great to just learn from, because there were all sorts of things that were going on with Tiki after World War II. Though I think it was namely, and some of the architecture is just great. It's kind of one of those weird things that happened within mid-century Americana. That kind of came from left field, but I think it's because a lot of the U.S. soldiers and stuff coming back from the Pacific campaigns were fairly influenced by Pacific island culture. And some stuff that's very collectible, or like the mugs and stuff like this. This one's called Beauty and the Beast. That looks really cool. I bet you that thing is crazy valuable, is my guess. I'll actually have to look that up. I want to show this one, though. This is one I want to get for myself. This is this Disney Hawaiian tiki shirt. It's just so cool. They're very expensive, so I don't know if I'm going to ever get it. I probably won't thrift it, because I'd probably have to go live under a bridge by Disneyland and just hunt all the thrift stores around there and harass the tourists to see if anybody would give me that shirt or something, or get it for me. So now going on into some of the thrifted, mostly books, but also media. This is crazy. It's, what is it? 28 disc DVD set of this Chinese series called A Romance of Three Kingdoms. Now, I don't know anything about this. And I believe the series is from the 90s, mid-90s. Fairly popular from my understanding. But all the discs are there. I checked, because I've made mistakes before, as many of us probably have resellers. I mean, where, you're just going fast and you're making assumptions. I remember I got a VHS of, vintage VHS of The Blob. And I was like, oh, this is so cool, And then I didn't even check the tape inside. And then later I checked the tape that's inside, and it's a different tape. It's not The Blob. It was just the sleeve was The Blob, but that's it. So I'm like, lesson learned. At least it was 80 cents or something, so it wasn't too bad. This one I paid $8 for. It was kind of randomly in the book section, so maybe somebody else had looked at it and just left it there. This is some kind of art book, Wonderwall. And this one, it wasn't priced up too bad. You know, it ended up being $2 or $3. This is a Goodwill. It's got a lot of architecture and space, living space design, I mean. So, you know, it's pretty cool. It's nicely done. My guess is this probably sells for around $40 or $50. So that's pretty solid. Always have to be a little careful with those larger coffee table books because they might be cheap, but they take space, and sometimes the sell-through rate is pretty slow because you're really waiting for a niche customer or consumer to come along and pick that up. It can be worthwhile. You just have to be able to store it, you know. So this one's cool. I took a flyer on this because this is a zine from 1996. It's called Luna Cornea, yeah. And the interesting thing is it's really nicely produced. And it looked really cool and kind of art culture, but kind of Hispanic, a little more geared towards Hispanic culture, I want to say, of the mid-90s. But this cover is just so cool. I just really like it. That was the main thing that impressed me about it, was there's a lot of cool stuff in here. It's very rare. Some of these zines are very hard to find just because people don't keep them. They weren't produced in high numbers. They're such specialty products. So you might have to wait a couple of years to sell this if you're shooting for a particular price on it. But it is cool, in my opinion. It's cool material to just even review for myself. And, you know, I paid $1 or something for it, which, you know, just because something's cheap doesn't mean you should get it. But that interested me enough. And I think it does have an audience that will be interested in it. This is an artist I didn't know of, Paul Citroën. I know Citroën is like the car company. I don't know if this dude has any relationship to that. But he was like an early 20th century, I do believe French artist, but I think he might have Dutch origins. I'd have to double check. But yeah, it's a nice art book. Fairly rare-ish. I assume that's a self-portrait. Looking kind of crazy. I always like crazy self-portraits. I think those are fun. But yeah, you know, early modernism, I guess. But very cool. Not an artist I know. So it's always fun to discover that type of stuff. This is one of my favorites, actually. I don't even think it's worth that much. But it's 3 Fuzzy Bears. This is from like 1940, or around that period. And it is kind of fuzzy. That's the thing. Look how cute that bear looks. I love that late 30s, 40s stylization on things. It oftentimes will make me think of the artist Mark Ryden and his wife, also Marion Peck. They're both kind of what was at least at the time called like lowbrow surrealist artists, and they drew a lot of inspiration from this period of work, the stylization. But I mean, god dang, this is cool. Wait, I gotta move this thing. There we go. Isn't that fun? I just love this design. They're so funny. And when is it? Oh man, they're using the numerals. Let's see, LV. I think this is actually 1937. If my Latin skills have not degraded completely. Oh, he looks pissed off. Oh yeah, it's probably because somebody messed with his spoon. That frickin' girl. You know. Goldilocks, she's always screwing things up for everybody, you know, taking their stuff, I mean, messing with it, sleeping in people's beds. That's utter disrespect. That's truly disrespectful. You know, how can those bears put up with such you know, disrespect? I don't know. The Tales of Genji, this was a art exposition catalog book. It from 2008. It's in Japanese, which is, you know, not good for me because I don't read Japanese. But you don't see me crying about that because we can see the pictures. And there's a lot of beautiful art in here. I've never read The Tale of Genji. I believe it's kind of a deep classic within Japanese literature. So, you know, that's kind of a thing that would be neat to even just read some extracts from, just to get a vibe on the work. You know, sometimes the deeper in history a thing was made, the harder it is to connect with it, or you have to kind of, it's kind of like Shakespeare or some of this Elizabethan work, because the language and stylistics are, you know, have evolved so much into our time. We're not used to that language use. It doesn't mean it's better or worse. It's just like, you know, language, cadence, and stuff, you have to pick up on it, like even between different professions. If you're in the legal profession and medical profession, there's styles and use of language. And say in the business world, there's styles of language that are used, and you just have to get immersed in it to get used to it. Otherwise, it can seem almost foreign, and that's okay. It's one of those things where you just have to immerse yourself in the material. But what I'm saying is sometimes it's harder to connect with that older work because of that. But once you get into it, you get into the flow. That's what I found. I remember reading, what was his dude's name? Spencer, some old English dude, the Fairy Queen. That's what it was. That's very cool. But you got to get used to the language on that. Now, this is NYRB. This is a big one. This one wasn't priced bad, actually. They priced it at like $2 at Goodwill. Vasily Grossman. Not familiar with this writer. And like I was saying, it's thanks to Gloomy Girl books that I really learned about the NYRB catalog and these books. And, you know, they have such a cool catalog. This is another one, Ringo Levio. Look at this dude. You know this guy was a character. I mean, this is like an autobiography or something by him. And I think there is a strong degree of self-mythologization in here. But it sounds funny. I mean, a dude like that, he's got to be entertaining. And I'm gonna check that out at some point. Now, I found a bunch of these. These are actually fairly decent. I mean, fairly decent for paperbacks, like a contemporary-ish, like a little over $10, $10, $15. But it's the Wizard of Oz series, you know? And this is the Del Rey editions. This is a trade paperback. This is mass market, so it's a different sizing there, as you can see. The next ones are trades as well, trade paperbacks. So I found a bunch of them together. I bet you that if you found like the whole set of these, it probably sells for good money. So let's see here. I find a ton of Steinbeck paperbacks. I have never even heard of this one. A Russian journal. So he spent time in Russia, I guess. I did not know that. Did you know that? I mean, any Steinbeck fans? But yeah, this is cool. And it's in very good condition. So that was a cool find, and I'm like, oh damn! Now I know another piece of his catalog that I had no clue existed. Interview with the Vampire. This is cool. This is first printing, so it's in good condition. So I don't think I've ever found this one actually. So let me just check here. Yeah. So there you see first printing. But yeah, absolute classic. Never read it. You guys recommend Anne Rice? Yeah, I mean, she's very popular, and I assume the work is actually quite good. I'm just like, I don't want to get in trouble, but I don't really care about vampires. I'm biased against vampires. I just don't find them scary. I don't know. I mean, I have read a couple vampire books that I did actually like, but they're few and far between. Native Son by Richard Wright. This is an edition I've never found. Let's see, when is it from? Perennial Classic. It's got a little wear, but 1966. That's pretty cool. Then I found, this is Wizard of Earthsea trilogy here by Ursula K. Le Guin. I love her, but I've never read this series. But yeah, I'll sell them together. Yeah, 15, 20 bucks. Something like that. these are cool. This is an old Pelican book. Why smash atoms? Why indeed? Why do we do anything? Probably to blow things up because we're stupid. No, but I guess you can get energy from it too. Let's say that. You know, the higher up you go on the technology chain, the more chances you got of destroying yourself, basically. 1945. Cool. So I found that one with this one as well. I love Robert Louis Stevenson, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde fame and Treasure Island. But I like the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's so funky. But this is not one I know. It's from 1949. Virginibus Puerisque. Again, I'm not testing my Latin. I don't know how to translate that. No, I think I do, but I think there's a good chance I get it wrong. But it's a cool old Pelican book. So those are neat. UK editions. Triton by Samuel Delany. Now, this one I think has a cultural interest because there are characters that are trans. So I think Delany was fairly ahead of his time, is my understanding. Very interesting writer. I want to read Dahlgren. That's kind of his like large, huge book that he did. Now this one I found at Camelback and Dicer, and there was an interesting collection. Actually, the Fuzzy Bears one was there too, and I think it was from a bookseller. Oh damn! I forgot about. I wanted to show Donald that Disney Hawaiian shirt. Damn, I forgot. But anyways, he was impressed. This is Flashman. I've seen the paperback before, and I remember it standing out because I'm like, that looks hella funky, you know, and it does. I mean, just look at this. It looks wild. And that lady looks real creepy. I mean, that dude looks creepy too. This is a first edition, and it's marked a bit weird though. Like it's not like obvious, but it is a first edition, and I think this does have fairly good value. This is The Exorcist, classic, you know, horror in the horror genre, very important work by what's their name? William Peter Blatty. That's not. I can't ever remember their name. No disrespect. I mean, it's just some names I remember better than others. Maybe he didn't do a lot of other works, I suppose. But this is a book club edition. Now, if it was a true first, that would be very valuable. But here you'll see it's noted book club edition. Oftentimes it's on the inside sleeve of the dust jacket. And also note that there's no price listing. Usually a price listing is going to be up here. So no price. And the books are generally a little lighter, the book club editions. So I'm just pointing that out just to, in case it can help anybody else. Because, you know, it takes a little while to learn those little nuances. And you'll see on here, it's not marked on the copyright page. There's no first edition marking. Now, there are true first editions from certain publishers where they don't mark it, like the Flashman, they don't mark that as first edition. So you have to sometimes study it up a little bit because there's nuances to it. This one also was with those other ones. So I think it was from that bookseller. And there were quite a few books I passed up that were vintage and looked interesting, but I kind of comped them out and they didn't look that good. This one seems pretty solid. Secret Passage, a mystery story for girls. Now, yes, the dust jacket is fairly chewed up, but it's still okay, I think, you know. Now, this one is really cool. I did not count this. Portnoy's Complaint by Philip Roth. I read this a long time ago, and I remember there were some hilarious scenes from what I recall. Now, but the cool thing about this, and I have found this book various times, but not this edition. This edition is, let me show you, first printing. So that's very good. That is hard to find, basically. So that's very cool. That's a very important work. So now here we got biblical numismatics. What? Now this is like old-timey money from back in the you know, thousands of years ago. And what I'm guessing is it's mostly from the you know, Middle East region. So I don't know anything about coins, and especially ancient coins. But I can tell you if I was like just straight up investing in collectibles, I would do coins probably. Why? Because they have historical value and cultural value, and basically they've been tested generation to generation in terms of collectability. Like that's a thing that is basically, you can count on the fact that future generations will collect those, so value will usually be solid, I think. I'm not an expert on that, but that's just what I'm thinking, versus say things that are more pop culture collectibles that say have only been in existence for less than 100 years. You know, some of that stuff, it ebbs and flows, but a lot of times it dies off with the generations that actually had nostalgia and like esteem for those subjects or genres, you know. So, but you know, things don't always go the way we think either. So things can be counterintuitive, but on average, like old historical coins and paper and books, that stuff is pretty solid in my opinion. This is a really cool tattoo book. Tattooed America. Oh man, that's so cool. I don't have any tattoos, but I love tattoo culture and tattoo design. Now this book, let me tell you when it's from. Let's see. 1993, Hardy Marks Publications. I really do love American tattoo style, traditional American tattoo style, but this looks fairly eclectic in here. But yeah, old vintage tattoo books are really neat. I want to get some nice. That's a nice one. That coloring right there, and that wolf is actually really cool. I personally want to collect some tattoo books on, like, say, Japanese tattoo art, American traditional tattoo art. There's a lot of cool books and various artists that are very interesting. There's Eamon Dutso or something. There's some guys that were really good. I'd like to collect their monographs or whatever. Now this is actually a good one. War Diary, USS Alabama, 1942 to 1944. I really try and look out for those kind of vintage military style or military yearbook style books. But let's fold out here. This one is definitely has value. And you know what's cool with these is you get a feel a little bit for the people, you know, that were involved with this stuff on a little bit more intimate or personal level than, say, a straight up like history book. This is showing you where they're vacationing and doing stuff. It shows you, you get I don't know, just a more nuts and bolts feel for the people behind it. You know, like there's real people that were doing this shit, you know? And, you know, like this dude just smoking. Cool. Let's see. I mean, they had boxing matches. Awesome. But yeah, that's a really neat one, in my opinion. It's if I was into that stuff, I'd love to collect, you know, those kind of things. This is the art of Steve Hanks. Really wonderful artist. I have a friend who really loves his work, and she's collected quite a few pieces of his, and she's very into kind of 80s art, neo Art Deco style. And this kind of works along with it, actually, as kind of like accent pieces, I feel like. But the lighting, the artistry is nice, you know, it's just figure art with cool light. You have to be into this kind of thing to like it, and that's okay. There's a bit of, we don't have to like everything. We all got different tastes, you know. Figurative realism's not for everybody. But yeah, it's cool. You know, this book, maybe $30. I might actually see if my friend wants it. And this last one is cool too. You know, like I say, I don't pick up a lot of records, and you know, it's not like this is mint condition, but this is such iconically of its time. You know, Monster Mash. Do you not get hyped when you hear this song? I mean, I do. It's an all-timer. It's an absolute banger. But yeah, that's cool. So yeah, that's most of the books that I picked up recently. I don't know if you had any favorites. I don't know if I had any favorites, actually. Did I? the tattoo book, actually. That's the one I want to keep. I'll still probably list it, but I really like that one. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any comments, corrections, and any and all of that, just let me know. Always remember, keep having fun. Take care. Bye.